All right. And welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives. And once again, I got the bums in the house. But it's a special day today because we have an additional bum, a first-time bum. Cam, welcome to the studio. Welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I'm happy I can bring my assistant middle school basketball coach experience to the podcast. I feel like there's a lot to give.
You have 3 basketball podcasters here today, but yeah, like Cam said, you have the only coach of the 4 of us sitting on the couch here today, and we've got some expertise, but we also have a group of 4 friends going back over 20 years, 25 years, so it's a special day. It's a day before Thanksgiving. And you know what, guys, I see 4 glasses in front of us here.
Yes, we have 4 shots of tequila to represent the 4 wins the Spurs recently have. We're on a 4-game win streak. We think that this deserves a little bit of celebration. Obviously, the Spurs, over recent memory, we haven't had a lot to celebrate, so we got to celebrate the small stuff.
What's that stat? We didn't get to our 10th win until January 27th last year.
46 wins it took us to get 10
46
wins.
games, yeah. We were 10
46 games, yeah.
We were 10-36 at one point, and now the last time we were recorded, we were 6-8. We are now sitting on the couch 10-8 on a 4-game win streak. There's 4 bros on the couch, and there's 4 shots, and AJ, it looks like you fucking poured them as doubles, and I'm a little intimidated.
Brought to you by podcast sponsor Terramana Tequila.
Yeah, let's...
Thank you, Dwayne. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Dwayne.
you
Keep
very
in mind,
much.
it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock right now, but let's go ahead and grab these. Huh?
Yeah, but in Bangladesh, it's like 8, so.
You know, that's a valid point.
Hey,
Cheers.
Spurs goes.
Salud.
There's only
Spurs,
one number
go.
to remember.
That's 4.
Jeff Davis.
Like a doctor.
That's actually pretty solid.
Well, it's not too bad.
By the look on Rob's face, it might have been Av.
Stings the
Yeah.
nostrils.
It wasn't the worst tequila shot, but I
Wasn't the
would have
best.
liked to have a lime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been nice.
Thanks for hosting, Adam.
Yeah, we are at the Adam residence here in the great city of San Antonio. A reminder to y'all that this is a basketball podcast. We are San Antonio Spurs fans, and we're here to talk about San Antonio Spurs action.
Yeah.
And I want to look to the right or your left of my fearless leader, Rob, and kick us off with the first topic. Why don't you?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we got to talk about is the 4-0 over the last 4 games. Obviously, the Spurs, we've been playing great basketball. Wemby's back. He missed a couple of games. He was banging his knee with Anthony Davis. He scared me last night.
Yeah.
He banged his knee with Lauri Markkanen. I was like, dude, is just attracting knees out there. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's nice to see him stepping back in and having a really solid all-around game last night, it leading to a win, and it seems like he really hasn't missed a step. So that's really impressive, and you know, let's hope we keep it going against the Lakers tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. Very thankful that we only missed him for, I think, a 3-game stretch, and
Yeah.
shockingly, we went 2-1 over those 3 games. So I would say that one of the almost biggest revelations of that, other than just being able to survive his absence, was kind of the emergence of Charles Bassey a little bit. And last night against Utah, Zach Collins only played 6 minutes. Bassey actually ended up playing a little bit more than him.
And I do feel like, too, part of that is like, especially with Wemby out of the picture, is like you get back to like the Spurs philosophy is still alive. Like, move the ball, find the open man, like
Get the ball down low.
It's been fun
Like,
to watch
it has
2014
been.
Spurs.
It's like, I saw. A
It's been
clip,
really nice.
and it was from last night's game. And I don't even know who scored because I was like looking left and right. But it's like
Probably Mamu.
It was probably like 5 or 6 passes before we shot the ball, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
And it
I was
ended
like,
with
"We're
that.
back."
It ended with that Champagne 3.
That's what it was. It was
Yeah.
champagne. Yeah, but it was
absolutely.
beautiful. It was just like, and so it's that. It's like, so even when
We're
the
gonna put that
guy-
clip right here.
Right there.
Yeah, so like even when the guy who like is responsible for us like even having a chance to get back is out of the picture, it's like he has still like given us that like identity back. It's like we've been able to move around.
What's been great is the 4-game win streak. It's who we've beaten.
Yeah.
We've beaten the Thunder. We beat the Jazz twice. We beat the Warriors. And in the NBA, when you play a team so close together, it's really hard to win both of those games.
Right.
So
I was expecting the Jazz game after beating the Warriors. That was huge, and I feel like it's so often. It's like right after a big game like that. It's like
Well, and it's never
shit
easy
the
to win
bed.
on the road like that.
No,
No.
yeah. Especially when there's Mormons everywhere, you just never know.
Right. Yeah, they're unpredictable as fuck.
They are.
Well, like
They're
go
so
ahead,
nice.
go ahead,
you
Rob.
get nervous.
I was just gonna say I've been so proud of our defense. Like we've been playing such good team defense. Our defensive rating is back up to 8th in the league, and we have really shut down opposing players' superstars pretty well. Lauri Markkanen last night, I think he was 5 for 16, only had 14 points. You go back to that Golden State game, Steph Curry, I think he was like 5 for 14, only had 14 points. And was really shut down by Stephon Castle late in game. So you look at the way our team defense is playing right now, and I think that's kind of the backbone of our success recently. So I think you take that away, and the Spurs' identity kind of flounders. So I think that defense is key.
We made a move actually to having Julian Champagny on Lauri last night, and he looked really good guarding him.
his fro gave him a few more extra.
It was that extra length.
I've been having to
Yeah.
watch the majority of the Spurs games like a poor person, like the box score on the ESPN app. Just haven't known what's been going
You're
on.
just box score watching.
But last night I did
Casual
it.
cam.
Last night I did it, and I looked at Markkanen's box score, and I was like, "What the hell happened here?" Like I was shocked because I was expecting him to still get his laurels, and he just.
Well, I
didn't.
think he shot 0 for 6 from 3.
Yep.
I want to go back for a second to something AJ said, because like we've said and like y'all have heard, we're on a 4-game win streak, and 2 of those wins are against Oklahoma City, and those are against the Golden State Warriors, the current number 1 and 2 seeds in the West. And I want to add that during that stretch and during those games, we didn't have Devin Vassell, we didn't have Jeremy Sohan. When you look at the Spurs' future, those are 2 of our 4 biggest assets for our future. We still have yet to see like the Spurs at full strength. What's our potential here?
Still jogging.
Is the
We're not
sky
even
the
sprinting
limit
yet.
for us, or what do we envision doing this year?
And then it's hard too because it's been so long that you try not to get too hopeful, but it feels really good right now. It's like the things we're seeing out of the people that are playing, it's just like I don't know. I want to like jump on the mountaintop.
I don't want to
Like,
get
oh
hurt
my
again.
God, we're back.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's very like, hey,
Well,
like
I mean, I think that's why you got to approach it with extreme caution and just be like, this could be something really great, but until we're above a 35, 38 win team, I'm not going to think that we're anything more than that. So like until we see everyone together, all the pieces flowing,
extrapolate that over like 50 games.
Yeah,
and see what
right.
it looks like.
It's just best to not be, counting your chickens before they
You
hatch.
just have fun. It's casual right now.
But
Just
it's
keeping it cool.
it's really fun to see like going back to when we were like dominating the league. Whenever we had one of our big superstars go down, all of our younger guys stepped up, and so like we didn't lose any kind of traction with wins and loss. And so like we're seeing that now. So it makes you think like what's going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing? What's happening? Is it just we're just trusting each other at this point?
I feel like I think that is the thing, though.
Or is it because our guys have been the primary players for so long, like Keldon Johnson or like a Champagny, like they've been the number 1, number 2 option? Are they just getting to that point now where, hey, I can come in and score 20 if you want me to, or I can score 10 and we still win the game? So I think it's a lot of confidence that we built over the past like 3 to 4 seasons whenever we were tanking, because someone has scored the basket. And now we're seeing kind of all that hard work pay off.
Well, in Keldon, too, I feel like Keldon's been getting overshadowed by how many people have been playing so well. But, like, from what he's been to, like, what you've seen this season, it's like, I don't want to say his back's against the wall, but it kind of felt like it did because he was in nothing but trade talks all offseason.
Well,
and
to
even
your
during the
point,
season.
like you said, him being overshadowed, he's had some really good games as of late, but I think that speaks to our depth right now.
Right.
We have so many different lineups.
Yeah.
For example, like Malachi Branham didn't play last night. We put Blake Wesley in the game. I think I texted y'all in our group chat that he was like plus 28 over like the
Yeah.
17 minutes he was playing.
insane.
He stepped up. He's played really good the last two games.
We also
Charles
haven't-
Bassey.
We also haven't mentioned a specific name, and it's like I feel like
Mitch
we're
Johnson.
just discounting what Chris Paul.
I
has
figured you were gonna go to
this
CP3.
team. And
Yeah.
I think it's fair because it's like you see what he does, and you see how he facilitates off ball, and it's like that's what we wanted, and that's why we brought him. But it's like it's actually he's given us exactly what we needed when we brought him in, and I think it's awesome. And he's supposed to be that guy like late in his career. It's like, hey, like I don't need all the attention, but like he has been playing his role so well on this team.
But he still hits big shots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He still makes plays in a time.
He's been clutch, Chris. He's been hitting a lot of late game shots, and we've been needing his offense a lot more than we originally thought. We were like talking about his distribution, talking about a lot of his assists, and how he's still up there with a lot of the greats in the NBA, and you know, it turns out, you know, his defense and his defensive communication is very much needed, but also, dude, we need that offense, especially when Vassell and Sohan are missing games. Wemby's missing a couple games here and there. Damn, we need that.
Harrison Barnes is playing out of his ass right now.
I want to give Chris Paul more flowers too, because he could have gone anywhere in the league. He could have gone to the Knicks. He could have gone to like literally any contender and play for that team, and he came to the Spurs. Like, I think that's really, really cool. And he knew his role. He was like, you know what? I'm good. Like, if I don't win a ring, my career is fine. And he's, like, now setting the foundation for, like, all of our players, especially Steph Castle. Like, dude, would he be where he's at right now without Chris Paul?
I don't know, but, like, Trey Jones is about to be an unrestricted free agent. We're going to be losing him, and I'm sitting here looking like Steph's certainly capable of making that jump to our
statement doesn't affect me the way it would have affected me like 6 months ago.
Agreed. And like we have Steph Castle who could step in to be our starting point guard next year. We have the player option to pick up Blake Wesley. So like we could, but I feel like we have to bring back CP3. And what I'm sitting here wondering is like, does he come back to us? He knows that he probably has the position as our starting point guard still.
I think about all the teams that Chris Paul has played in his career, and I feel like for him, like looking at the Spurs, it's like obviously like you have the Victor Wembanyama aspect to it, but it's like, okay, it's like you have a team that is here to play team basketball. Like you don't have a ton of superstars. Like I don't have to like worry about like stroking all these people's egos. Like I get to go in, like play my role. Like name wise, I'm kind of the big man. Like relatively speaking, compared to everybody else behind Wemby, but it's like I think for him, it's just a lot of weight off of his shoulders too. It's like go into the end of your career and just play the brand of basketball that like you are good at playing.
Right, and especially when there's no real expectations of playoffs, or you know, if you get to the playoffs, cool. If you don't, it's cool because you're still one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and there's no true expectations of actually competing for a ring this year, so you might as well go out there and just help the players around you grow. So yeah, I think he's definitely in that kind of system, and without Pop, I love having Chris Paul more.
Just a godsend.
So it feels like we have an additional coach to kind of help Mitch Johnson.
Oh, dude, it's been great. If you guys ever get to watch the timeouts, he's sitting there like with the players. Mitch Johnson's on the court, and like they're going back and forth, and it's like he's not stepping on their toes. Like he's not overshadowing, but he's just kind of helping the progress. And it's, I mean, if Chris Paul wants to hang him up at any point in time, I totally understand. But if he wants to come be on the bench for the Spurs, like I'm cool with him.
Oh yeah.
With in 3 to 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, if he wants to be our head coach or whatever, I think he'd be perfect. Because I mean, you look at the guys like Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was a phenomenal player. One of the best assistants in all the land, and now look at him with the Mavs. He's now going on like 10 years or so. So like he's solid, and if Chris Paul can be like that, dude, that would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Bo?
Yeah, Duke. Like Duke, you're making an appearance on the podcast now.
Can we talk about Duke for a second?
This is
big old Duke.
For all of you guys that are watching our podcast right now, this is my dog Duke. He's an absolute tank.
And who is he related to?
Do we have to censor these? Are these safe for camera?
No, let's put a little like fucking. Why don't you go ahead and we have another place in the couch here, bud. If you want to take a seat with us.
And who's Duke related to?
Me and me alone. Okay. Sorry, the shot and the beers got to me. So Duke is actually cousins with Lonnie Walker's dog.
Shout out to Lonnie Walker.
R.I.P. to his dog Zola. Actually passed. I'm not sure how, but that was very sad.
Dang.
He's also second cousins. I think shares the grandpa to Odell Beckham's dog. So Duke's somewhat famous. He's fucking a badass animal, and he flexing. Okay, But for a second, let's
His
get back
aunt
to
actually at one point was owned by Cher as well.
just to my knowledge,
impressive.
just
It's impressive.
Lonnie Walker and Odell Beckham. But yeah, he's a badass motherfucker.
He's also
over there.
aggressively humped my leg no less than 5 times since he's
All right, back.
Yeah, all
back,
right.
back.
Okay. So yeah,
Go ahead.
we're talking about Chris Paul.
Yeah, I was going to get back to CP a little bit and
Okay.
how what he's doing for us kind of reminds me a little bit of what he was doing for Oklahoma City.
For sure.
If you look at that team, they had like zero expectations. I think they were projected to have like the 5th worst record in the NBA. And they ended up making the playoffs as like the 5 seed. And it reminds me a lot of that, how what he does, granted, he's like 5th or 6th in the NBA in assists per game at 8.5. But what he's able to provide to the team is so much more than just what you see in the box score. And that partially reminds me of another free agent acquisition that we had this year, and that's Harrison Barnes. Rob, tell me a little bit about what you've seen out of Harrison Barnes over the last week or two.
Dude, I mean, obviously, conference player of the week. I think, and Cam was just mentioned it pre-podcast. Like, he's the oldest player to win that, and yeah, to see a player in his 13th season do that, I think that's really remarkable. And he's not doing it in a flashy way. He's just playing efficient basketball, hitting shots whenever it needs to, and he's stepping up within the flow of the offense, and not really making it all about him. So you look at a lot of these players of the week, and I feel like he stands out. And what we're seeing is, smart cuts. Wemby's finding him backdoor. We're seeing a lot of really smart pull-up threes. A lot of really, really just easy mid-range shots, and that's stuff that Harrison Barnes can do in his sleep. He's been doing it for a long time, done it for multiple teams, and he's having his most efficient season he's ever had for us right now.
I love watching him play basketball because he looks like the old dude at the YMCA that just like, oh no, it's just don't worry about him, and then he comes and just buckets,
Cooks you.
Yeah, because whenever this is what I love about Harrison Barnes, and I really like whenever you watch the game, whenever our offense gets really stagnant, he comes in, he like hits a 3, or he makes a cut, or he like does something to like get the offense kind of spark. And that's what we were missing for the past few seasons. And I absolutely love watching him play. And also, low-key, I called it.
You did.
I called it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
here's the deal
I
with
think
him.
on our last episode, you predicted that in the absence of Wemby, you thought that Harrison Barnes was going to step up leading into that Oklahoma City game. And not only did he step up that game, he stepped over the last couple games and, was able to get that coveted player of the week.
I feel like the story with Harrison Barnes is the same with Chris Paul. It's like later in his career, like getting to play the brand of basketball he wants to play, and it fits with what we have going on right now. And it's crazy for me because like I remember sitting like at the back row of AT&T once upon a time, rest in peace, AT&T Center,
R.I.P.
Crossbank, and watching Harrison Barnes like cook us while we were like on our way to the playoffs, like hitting threes like crazy. But like he was a pretty young dude back then.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's just kind of the full circle aspect of it is crazy.
Those were great days, by the way.
They were fantastic days. So many things. Yeah, it was great.
I remember when I went to that playoff game, you guys were in the section next to me.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, shit.
yeah, it's fun times. It's fun times. But yeah,
yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Why do you think the Kings were so happy to get rid of him? Like, I mean, they gave us Harrison Barnes, and they were like, hey, we'll throw in a pick as well.
I think
absorb that contract.
I don't think it was as much like, hey, we're ready to get rid of Harrison Barnes. I think it was more like, hey, we just acquired DeMar DeRozan via doing this. If we keep Harrison in his contract, like we're going to be paying a massive luxury tax. And that goes back to like the first apron, the second apron, and what that kind of limits other teams to do. And because we've been so far under the cap that it's allowed us to take on contracts like that not only give us the veteran leadership that we need now, but also can help bolster some of our assets for the future, which is what we did signing CP3,
Yep.
what we did getting Harrison Barnes. We've been able to get that veteran presence that we need now, but also we have mortgaged zero of our future in order to get those guys.
Can we start a nickname for Brian Wright? Can we start it on this podcast?
What do you have in mind?
Senor Fleece. because
I like that.
because dude, he has his trades. You look back on and you're like, holy shit, dude! Like this guy is
that's awesome.
on. Like
I'm
we've
not gonna lie,
won.
that's awesome.
We've. I can't think of a trade we've lost. Like
Senior,
since he's been the GM. Like I can't think of a trade that we were like, oh, dude, like we really missed that one. Like I can't think of one because every time he makes a trade, we come out on top. Even and I say this because you're seeing Rob Dillingham right now, who's not even getting 10 minutes a game. And so you're looking at an 8th pick who potentially
and a pick that we were like, should we do that? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's smart.
and
We all questioned it.
oh,
we all
He
questioned
actually had a good game last night.
Did he? Oh, okay.
He put up like 12, 7, and 5.
That was his best game of the year, though.
Yeah.
I know. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that's largely indicative of. I don't think that's largely indicative of what he brings to the table. I think that's kind of his role and his opportunity right now.
Yeah. So like I don't know if his growth right now is stunted because he's on the T-Wolves, but you know we might look back
at the end of the day, from an X's and O's standpoint, as an organization, that was exactly the move. That's the thing, though, is like it always comes back to like the front office. It always comes back to like trusting the process, trusting the front office, and it's like even when it's like I don't think that makes sense, it always ends up making sense.
Yeah, and so I think San Antonio should start calling Brian Wright Senor Fleece. Let's clip that shit.
Let's let's see if we can get it going.
Senor Fleece, because that dude, he has not lost a trade.
I mean, if anything, he just deserves his laurels, period, for what he's responsible for. I mean,
let's talk about one of his fleeces. Let's talk about Stephon Castle, the 4th overall pick in this most recent draft. He's been playing incredibly well. Not only is he stepping up on offense over the last 10 games, putting up about like 15 and 5, but he's also guarding guys like Steph Curry in the clutch and clamping them down. So I'm looking at it like he could potentially be our second best player moving forward.
100%.
Do you guys feel like he's building up for that?
my concern is already into keeping him. Like, I know that's so far off already, but I'm already like, shit. How do we keep this guy?
He's under I think a 4-year deal where at least we have the player option in that 4th year. So I'm not worried about that yet, especially whenever he's playing alongside a guy like
playing
Wemby.
that good.
Well, what I'm thinking is like you shared a graphic the other day, Rob, where it had a picture of Devin Vassell, it had a picture of Jeremy Sohan, and it had a picture of Stephon Castle, and said, "Who is our most valuable asset looking forward?" Preseason, who would have not said Devin Vassell, who is coming off getting paid close to $30 million a year? I think we all would have pinned him as like, "Hey, that's our Robin moving forward." I think that it'd be pretty unanimous to say that Stephon Castle is our second most important player moving forward. Maybe that's short-sighted because Jeremy Sohan's been hurt, but it's like he's come in, he's been, like you mentioned, a massive, massive help defensively. He's been aggressive getting downhill offensively. He tried to put a fucking poster last night on who was it that he tried to absolutely fucking dunk on?
Oh, it was God damn it!
It was John Collins.
John Collins.
He tried to posterize John Collins,
and John Collins started laughing about it too. And but I love that he went after him like that. That's very aggressive.
Does he not give you D Rose vibes?
A little bit.
For some reason, like when I watch him play, he slithers into the lane and then like it opens up and he's yamming on everybody. Like
right.
It just watching him play basketball, and I'm so glad that we look at so many things whenever we draft a player. And I think if he didn't go to UConn, I don't know if he'd be a top 4 player. Like, but because he went to UConn, because he I said D Rose, and that was his trigger. But I would say because he went to UConn, I think that just makes him more of a professional coming out the gate, because he knows that Dan Hurley's going to be on his ass, and he knows how to show up on time and be successful. And also, he's such a Spur. Like you hear his interviews after the game, and he's like, "Yeah, we played well and we won the game. It was great." And they're like, "All right, Steph, have a great day." And he's like,
yeah,
cool.
he's so nonchalant.
Yeah, no, you're right. That fits the bill.
Yeah,
big time.
Just like almost like not caring and then turning it on in an instant.
Dude,
yeah.
he clamped down Steph, and it was so awesome to watch.
Oh my
like,
God,
dude,
it was brutal.
If that's our guy, and we can start. One thing, and you guys can attest to this. One thing we've never been good at is slowing down athletic guards. For the past 25, 30 years, we have
Yes.
not been good at slowing down athletic guards. Like Tony would always get cooked. We'd always have issues left and right, just slowing down a Westbrook or Chauncey Billups or someone like that. And
Honestly, Bruce Bowen was the only guy that could really do that. To
Yeah.
a
He was
certain
really
extent.
able
as
to
you can
kick guys
kick
in the
them-
face and kind of help with that.
But-
all I'm saying is we put him on Kobe.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we'd for sure.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
This
yeah.
is your opportunity, AJ, by the way, to bring up Jonathan Simmons if you had all your questions that you wanted to bring him up.
Once an episode. So Jonathan Sims. But what I'm saying is like we've always had issues, and now we have that guy. We have the guy. Oh, here comes the hump.
Oh,
Wait,
my
Sorry
God.
to all your viewers at home.
Hey,
We'll
is-
clip.
is
We'll
it-
clip this
Is there any way we could like pause
Move
here
his
for a second?
ass.
for sure.
No, we're Gucci.
We're in the pocket,
I
dog.
was talking about
yeah,
me,
we're-
but yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we don't make
So-
cuts on the Baseline Bumps podcast.
So,
Okay, good to
so
know.
like watching him, like we finally have that guy who can stop them and he can score on the other end. And I'm so excited to see his growth. And I really want to also talk about Wemby. Obviously, he's our best
Who's
player.
that, by the way?
Obviously, he's the best player. But
He's French. Nobody cares.
I got a question for you guys. The last 4 games, or obviously Wemby's tear, like, can he take it to another level? Like, do you think he can go another notch up, maybe a couple notches up? Is this the best we're going to see Wemby like this year, or is it going to be like, is he going to start dropping 40 a game?
I'm glad that you clarified this year because he's fucking 20.
Yeah.
He's 20 years old, and I don't have like my phone in front of me. I don't have the ability to look up statistics, but the 5-6 game stretch that he's on right now, I think it's like 30 points, 10 rebounds, like 5 or 6 assists, 4 blocks. And it's something that we literally haven't seen by any player in the history of the NBA. One thing that I've noticed maybe over his last 5 or 6 games more so was his passing. And if you actually look back to something that Greg Popovich talked about before he ever played for us, was like, hey, that one part of his game that is almost something that I can't compare to anybody else was his passing. Yeah. And I feel like recently he's been getting more touches lower in the paint, and it's been able to kind of get him passes to Harrison Barnes and other guys who are cutting.
I mean, like, how do you stop that? How do you stop his passing? Because he's 7'5". So he's going to throw. If you come with a double team, he throws over the top of you. If you try to front him, it's not going to happen. Like, how do you stop Wemby from passing? Like, you just don't try not to get the ball in his hands. Like, it's just that's the only way you can do it, because there's no other way. Like, one of the best sets they showed did it last night, where Chris Paul has the ball. It's almost like a double screen. Champagne was the guy in it, and Wemby cuts to the basket, and it's either a shot for Champagne, or you can toss it into Wemby, and it's a gorgeous play. And you have both other guys on each side of the corner, so like it's almost impossible to stop. Dude, is he the MVP?
I mean, clearly not the MVP, but
Because we're
like,
still winning games without him.
Right. You need to win a lot of games for that to be the case.
We're
But at
about
the end
to.
of the day, like, he's setting himself up to be potentially the most skilled, most well-rounded player in the NBA. When you look at his scoring, his ability to stretch the floor, he's rebounding, he's leading the league in blocks per game, and all he's got to do is just become more efficient. All he has to do is, continue what he's been doing over the last 10 games, which is shooting at almost 42% from beyond the arc, which is absolutely crazy to think that, he could be one of the most talented offensive players in the league while simultaneously being the best rim protector of the last maybe 10 years.
No disrespect to the actual Spurs Jesus, but he might actually
Fuck
be
Spurs Jesus.
Spurs Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
for Jesus.
I mean,
like what he does to other teams, people get into the lane of any position, whether it's a point guard like we saw last night in Colin Sexton getting downhill, or whether it be Lauri Markkanen.
They stop.
They get down there and they're like, I can't even shoot this because I know what's there.
It's a geometrical impossibility. You're just like looking up and you're like,
He's a fucking. He even in games or plays where he doesn't make the block, it's like you know that he's down there and he's altering shots. Just his presence is altering what other teams can do. But to what AJ was talking about earlier, how can you stop a guy like that? if he's able to make quick decision making whenever he gets doubled, other teams are in trouble. You see that with Nikola Jokic, who's still the fucking MVP favorite.
Yeah.
If he's able to get touches around 15 feet, he gets doubled, and he's able to pass out of that, and we surround him with shooters, the NBA could be in trouble for a long time.
Yeah, and another one thing that you ask, like the '90s shot blockers, like what makes a shot blocker like the best shot blocker? What makes him different than just a good defender? And it's blocking the ball and keeping it in bounds.
Right.
And Wemby does that every single game.
He like fucking tips it to himself.
Yeah,
He's like
it's,
playing toys.
dude. And I mean, there are times where he like swats the shit out of it, but then like what was it like? I think against the Warriors, where he swatted the hell out of it, but he kept it in bounds, and like that's what makes someone who's 20 years old the ability for him to do that. Like that's something you don't see.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's so much fun to watch him play basketball, and I am such a mark for Wemby that I mean. There's gonna be a year where he gets MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and we win a championship
But the thing is, like,
all in the one.
You've both mentioned it, but at the end of the day, like he's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's fucking
20.
20.
It's insane. It's like it doesn't. He's like you don't have to know anything about anything. You don't have to know anything about basketball.
I
but you
still
think
don't know
about
anything.
You still have to think about the way people get better at their craft. And like at 20 years old to be doing what he's doing, it's like he could barely do anything per year for the next 10 years. And like it's still going to be something we've never seen before.
Rob, let me ask you something.
And all he wants to do is play Legos.
That's facts.
Let me ask you something, Rob. Wemby's 20. Stephon Castle just turned 20. Jeremy Sohan's 21 years old. Our three best players are still super young. We have the potential to have 4 first-round picks in this year's draft. We have an Atlanta Hawks 2026 swap. We have Atlanta Hawks 2027 unprotected pick. What's our upside this year?
Which I
and
saw
beyond?
the projection right now in the Hawks is that pick is going to be ours.
It's going to be a good pick. Like, what do you see as our ceiling this year, and how early are we competing for championships?
I think we got to be realistic. Like competing for championships is a very, very difficult task because there's a lot of teams that are stuck in that first, second round purgatory, and we are not taking them seriously as championship contenders. And we're not even really at that stage where we're like, oh, we're a first round, second round team. It's like we're still a step away from that. So contenders is probably 2 or 3 steps away. I would say at least 4 years away, and I don't even know if. I mean, yeah,
That might be too far into the future.
I don't know if it is because I think that what we need to do is just incrementally improve. I think that as long as we improve enough, we say, hey, maybe we make the play-in this year. Maybe we're a first-round team next year. Maybe and then maybe the next year we're a first-round, maybe second-round team, and then we're a team that's flirting with the Western Conference Finals, and then maybe we're a team that looks like we can make the finals. And then it's I think there's potential steps, and you could see that with a team like Boston, who I felt like. That's kind of how you need to build a team in modern NBA, which is just 3-point shooting, a lot of defense, built around multiple superstars that have multiple talents and depth.
This is what I'll say. You're probably right in that it could be a build similar to how Oklahoma City did it, and it's like year by year they're getting better and better. But none of those teams have upside of what Wemby presents. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's amazing. Top 5 player in the NBA. Jason Tatum, elite. Regardless of what you saw in the Olympics, an amazing, amazing player. And they've surrounded him with talent. But none of those guys have the upside of what Victor Wembanyama does. And depending on what happens with some of these picks, we could stumble across a future superstar that we don't even know about yet. We don't even know Stephon Castle's upside. Yeah. Am I drinking the Kool-Aid here?
No, and I agree with that. And one of my questions that I wanted to bring up on this podcast was, at what point do we say we're all in? Like, when does Senor Fleece end up coming in and just go, let's go get a superstar, someone who's pissed off, someone who doesn't want to be there anymore? When do we just say, hey, pick up the phone, let's make a phone call, let's see what we can do? Like, does that expedite our plan? Like, does it make it to where maybe next year we're competing for a Western Conference final, or maybe in 2 years instead of 4?
being the most casual person on this couch by far when it comes to the NBA, like my only concern is like it's got to be the right superstar. Like,
right.
You cannot sacrifice what is happening, the teamwork that is being built, the things that are actually occurring that people look at the Spurs and I'm like, how the hell are the Spurs 10-8? Like, it's got to be a person that it's like, it cannot. I'm at a point where I look around at people that even be a possibility. I'm like, it cannot be that big of a name. And so then you get to the point where like, is it even worth it? Like, do we just continue to push that out?
But do you mortgage the future assets if we're not ready outside of that superstar yet?
Well, I think it's got to be almost like a shitter get off the pot moment where it's like
we're not there yet.
We're nowhere near there yet, and see that's why I'm thinking it's going to take more like a few years, because I think. And let's bring it back a little bit. We're a small market team. We don't have the luxury of being a Boston or an LA.
Pre-Project Marvel.
I mean, let's be real. Even if that goes off and it's 100% success, we're still going to be San Antonio, Texas. Like we're still not going to be LA, New York, or Boston, or one of these historic franchises that people are like, hey, we really want to play for this big city. Even though we're one of the best franchises in history, we still just don't have that allure.
Tier 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, hands down.
I agree with what you're saying, but to go back to what AJ said a little bit, I don't think this year's the year. I don't think we're one superstar away from winning a championship right now. But let's say we go into next year, we re-sign CP3, Harrison Barnes is still under contract. Do we at least flirt with the idea of mortgaging multiple first-round picks to get a superstar? Because let's be honest, we could probably get Giannis if he's like, let's say a year from now or 6 months from now, he's like, I fucking want out of Milwaukee. And we're like, okay, well, like, both Hawk picks are available. We're willing to offer up 2 additional first-round picks. We'll give you Devin Vassell. We are a Giannis away from competing for championships with ease, right?
Yes. If we have Giannis, Wembanyama, an up-and-coming Stephon Castle, and we keep everyone else, like, I don't see why we...
Oh, I just got a boner.
We aren't...
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are a few teams, like you look at Oklahoma City, they have all these assets. They haven't really traded them for anybody.
Yeah.
You have the New Orleans Hornets who are sitting at the fucking bottom of the Western Conference who have all these picks that aren't doing anything with them. Do we?
Yeah, like
how early do we do it? Because we have the ability to do it.
Because you look like a situation
us.
like Damian Lillard. Like he hung on for way too long. But let's say he wanted to go like 2 or 3 years before that. Like what that kind of situation where like we have a small market superstar who's like, this is stupid. Like, would you be surprised if Anthony Edwards is like, this is stupid? And then we're like, hey, Minnesota, do you want to have a quick conversation real
I would
quick?
be completely shocked if that ever happened.
I'm hoping Anthony Edwards thinks staying in Minnesota is stupid because we own a couple of their future assets, and I think maybe Brian Wright, aka
Senor Fleece,
maybe
Senor
foresaw
Fleece.
that with Minnesota.
Can we let's just make some senior? Let that be the inaugural Baseline Bums T-shirt. Is a Senior Fleece shirt.
Yeah, we'll make that merch.
Patent pending.
So real quick, just to recap, so we are thinking Western Conference finalists for 2025, is what we're saying here. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It was a joke.
Anything can happen if we make the play-in. I will say with Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, who have playoff experience, anything can happen if we make the play-in. And I mean, it depends on who we get. Like if we get a Mavericks team who has Luka hurt like at the right time. I mean, that
can be arranged.
Because I live in DFW, so we can make it happen. Right. So I mean, no, Luka, I'm not going to hurt you anyway. But what I'm saying is. The one thing I don't want to happen is we end up like the Mavericks because the Mavericks
suck.
I just no the Mavericks
forever.
The Mavericks are great, but they just can't.
No, they're not. How dare you?
They just can't get over the hump, and like I don't know. I don't want to be in that situation where we can't get over the hump. Like I'm okay with having my heart broken 1 year. But to have my heart broken like 2, 3, 4, 5 years,
I think I can't do that. We're already losing the sight though that like. Our heart has been broken for a while, but we knew even while we were getting our heart broken that there was a purpose.
I was cool with that.
It was happening.
Yeah,
and I also think, too, it's like, as a Spurs fan, it's like, yes, I'm a casual NBA fan, but like being a Spurs fan since I was like 10. The Spurs front office has made me a smarter fan of like how things work. And we get to this point where we're like, we expect certain things to happen that if you're a fan of another organization, you don't even think in those terms because those organizations don't make moves like that. So when you're a fan of an organization that does everything correctly, it's really crazy, but like we talk about things that people don't even think about. Like, oh, I want this guy.
That's why we have the best podcast in the country.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, indeed we do.
Backed up by facts and numbers.
By the way, that's a good segment to say if you're still listening to us right now.
Yeah, drop us a
you're
follow.
a
Drop us a
follower,
like.
give us a follow on all platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts. Yeah. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Baseline
Joe
Bums
Rogan
podcast.
listened to our podcast last week.
All right, wait, hold up for a second. Are you already? You said hour. Are you already a bum?
I mean, I've been on here for 45 minutes.
One episode in,
like-
and you're already claiming
like-
hour, huh?
I feel like that's allowed.
It took Adam and I like 4 or 5 episodes
The
to become a
bums,
bum.
the bums is plural. I feel like there's a large pocket there.
It's a collective bum.
I am one of the
We'll
bums.
allow you to be a bum just right now, but make sure you fucking follow a straight line there, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
There we
no
go.
promises on that.
Yeah, some strict bum.
Hey.
Strict bum behavior.
So we're filming this the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We
The
tonight.
day of the Lakers game.
Thank you. We play the Lakers tonight
Yeah,
to
with
potentially
Devin.
go 11-8.
Devin
Is
playing
Devin
tonight?
back?
I'm
He's
pretty
playing
sure
that?
Devin's back tonight.
Well, let's see.
Yeah,
But we have the
I think
potential
he
to
was
go 11-8.
Okay.
I want to take a second to say, hey, we're 10-8. We're Spurs fans. We are all thankful for something, right?
Absolutely.
The day before Thanksgiving. This might be a little lame, but I want us to go around one by one
So fucking gay.
and everyone say what we're thankful for. And you know what? I'm going to kick it off in the fact that I'm thankful for you guys.
Aww.
And I'm thankful for the bums.
They're not gonna
And
blow you.
I'm thankful for AJ. I'm thankful for Rob. I'm thankful for the honorary bum and clam. And I'm thankful for the bums. And what are you guys thankful for? Rob, what are you thankful for? It doesn't have to be as sweet as what I just said. It can be real.
Right. I mean, I'm thankful for the first time that we've gotten to do an episode together since October 2022. When we first started doing this, we did episodes together in person, and I liked that, but I also like the convenience of just being able to hop on at any time and do these, via Riverside. So, but it has a different vibe when you do them in person. So I like the fact that we're able to get together and do this face to face for the first time in a couple of years. So I like that.
We can do it again next month. I'll be back.
Let's do it.
I'll be back.
Let's
AJ,
do it.
what are you thankful for, my brother?
Well,
Keep in mind we were very sweet and we said we were thankful for each other.
I know. I'm gonna say this. I'm thankful for my parents because my parents were season ticket holders whenever they drafted. They started being season ticket holders of the Spurs whenever they drafted David Robinson, and we were season ticket holders for a long time. And I was very, very, very fortunate to be at the 03 championship as a young 13-year-old and wearing my Steven Jackson NBA
Stacked
Finals jersey. Might have been the only one in the entire arena wearing it.
I doubt that.
You're right.
They were just all at the top.
Jesus Christ.
Good old racist Cam.
But I'm very thankful for my parents because it was one of those things where the Spurs were playing, we'd watch it on TV, we were hosting Spurs parties, we were doing all the things, and it was so much fun to grow up as a Spurs fan, and it was cool to watch Tim Duncan grow and blossom and become the Hall of Famer that he is. It was really cool to meet Manu because of being a huge Spurs fan. So I want to thank my parents. Shout out to Mom and Dad. You guys are dope.
Respect.
Raider power.
All right, Cam, that's 3 sentimental thank yous.
What you thankful for, big guy?
Well, I mean, all of you, obviously. I mean, God damn it. I mean,
Eskimo bros.
let's not go there.
Come on,
AJ.
let's all give a cheers
Jesus
here.
Christ.
Let's all
I
come
was
on
more
now.
gonna
Let's
go
all
for
have a
all,
cheers.
like-
Come on now.
My
we got a cheers. There we go.
Not
Cheers.
just for
Let
that,
us
but just in
gingerly
general.
touch our tips.
Immediately to my left, I have like my best friend of going on 25 years, and then right past, like, not much different.
I've been friends with him for longer, by the way.
I know, which is why I used to hate Adam, because we'd have arguments.
Because he would say shit
Keep
like
in mind,
that.
I've been friends with him
exactly.
since we were 3.
So
Continue.
but it's funny, but like, but like, there's not, seriously
Such
though,
a dick.
on this couch, there's not many people other than him that I can say, like, the timeline is very similar. Like, you two are right after that. And after that, it's a giant drop off. But then, like, more importantly, I have to, like, shout out to my wife, Leslie.
My wife.
First of all, you're
Cheers.
pregnant with our 3rd child. God bless you. And you're at home with our other 2 psychos right now while I get to go do this. But I love you and I appreciate you very much.
Wimbenyama Eller.
Yeah,
There
that's
we go.
definitely not the name.
Victor
Victoria?
Stefan.
Maximus Decimus Eller.
Could we maybe get a Victoria?
Stephanie. Stefan.
Stephanie Castle Eller could be a possibility.
Stefani.
It could be a possibility.
Hey, but
There we go.
I think we're all thankful for some sweet things. We're thankful for each other. We're thankful for spouses. We're thankful for friendship. But let's tie it back to the baseline bums a little bit.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
we're all fucking thankful
Oh my God,
for
yes.
Victor Wembanyama.
fucking
Yeah,
Yama. Yes.
absolutely. We're all
And-
thankful for our young superstar.
And I want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to those 2 guys when we were tanking hard, and they had that said tank for Victor and tank for Wimby. Shout out to those guys who went viral in San Antonio, because without them, it may not have happened.
they knew what the long
Yeah.
the long term goal was.
Absolutely.
And also shout out to the Spurs because, like, let's be honest, watching that tank, it was so
Bad.
but it was so,
So
engineered. There was
It
so
was
many
so
games.
engineered.
If you were watching
super
it game by
engineered.
game, there was games that was like, hey,
like,
wait
oh
a
my-
second,
it's like
there could be a
Devin's-
possibility here.
It's like Devin's going off.
And then no.
How about the Spurs
No.
fans that were disappointed when we traded DeJounte Murray? And I was like, no. I was like, this is the right move.
I'm glad he wants out.
We're in
No
purgatory
shout out to
right
them.
now.
No shout out to them at all.
We were in purgatory.
That's needed to happen.
We traded our best player, got great future assets, and without that trade, we don't have Wemby.
What's DeJounte eligible for right now?
ACL surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we were all thankful for something great.
Yeah.
Now, should we dunk on people?
You want to dunk. Who are you wanting to dunk on?
Let's do some dunking.
I want to dunk on all the San Antonio drivers out there. You guys are terrible.
You moved the
No, it's not
DFW,
that.
and you
It's
feel
not
like you
that.
can come back and
It's not
dunk
that.
on San Antonio
No.
drivers.
Hey, the left lane's for passing. If you're going 60 in a 70, you can get fucked.
AJ, we have an HOV lane for that now that people can go 95 in, even though that's not the law.
Yeah, that's awesome. You should totally do 95 there.
It happens
But
a lot.
if you're in the left lane, or hey, when you're going through traffic lights and stuff, get off your fucking phone. Like, I cannot tell you how many times my butthole clinched because the homeboy behind me was on his phone. I'm like, he's about to rear end me. It's about to happen. And then, like, you know, he
I feel
stopped
like your butthole clinch excitedly.
one,
though.
one,
It
one of those
wasn't
things
like-
where he stopped behind me like this. Like,
it was like a good clinch. I feel like, you know.
I hate it. It drives me insane.
You know who I want to dunk on? I want to dunk on LeBron James because
Yeah!
we played
let's
tonight.
go.
And not just
I was
let's
actually going to say JJ Redick.
You want to dunk on JJ?
Yeah.
I just want to dunk on the Lakers. Like, let's throw
Let's
Rui
just
down
dunk
there.
on Los Angeles as a city.
Let's throw Dalton Connect down there. Let's throw every fucking Laker. Let's even throw Bronny down there.
We
Not
didn't even
sh-
talk about Bronny today.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we can still dunk on him.
We can still shit on Bronny, right?
I mean, he's not traveling with the team. Like, I mean, until he starts traveling with the team, then I'm not
made that-
going to fully respect that. 'cause
made that
you-
layup, though.
I don't care. It was fucking 35 points down. I mean, until you're winning, until you're willing to go with the team, experience a loss, make that travel back to your gym, and have coach be pissed at you. He's literally not going through that experience. He's shirking all responsibilities. He's doing the same thing he's been doing for months.
I feel like that's the only way I actually would have respected the entire thing because it was so reeking of nepotism. But I'm also like, I hate LeBron James. Not as a person, just as a player, as the whole thing. I'm like, as a person, whatever. But like, I think about him, who he is, what he represents, and I'm like, okay, if I'm in your position, of course I'm going to do everything in my power to get my son into the league on my team. Because as a father, I'm like, you know how badass it would be to play an NBA game with my son? I get that.
In the second quarter?
Bottom line, anything else aside that makes any logical sense. If that's in my power to do that, I'm going to do it. But then to do that, to bring my son in, I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously he's shitty. We're going to push him down. And then to watch him do all of that nonsense, I'm like, that's shitty.
We are the resident hate on Brawny podcast, and I'm actually the president of that
legitimately are.
club.
Yeah,
We have
no,
jackets.
he shouldn't be there.
Go off.
No, I feel like I've already shit on him enough for
Yeah.
not traveling with the team, for getting paid a guaranteed contract when so many players don't, for being absolutely ass. I've already done all of that. It's actually nice to have somebody on the podcast who shits on him first.
Yeah, there
You've
we
already
go.
taken a dump on his chest, and now I don't have to.
Well, I mean, I want to take a dump on and just dunk on JJ Redick real quick. I feel like there's been too many times throughout this season where I've seen him in like post-game interviews and like behind the podium, and he's just acting like a wannabe tough guy coach, and he's like just talking down to the media like like he just wasn't a fucking part of them.
Right.
Like he isn't pandering to those same people to, hey, come on my podcast, give me good reviews and share my stuff. It's like, bro, you pander to those same fucking people, but yet you act tough and you're like, I'm not going to give you the time of day.
Didn't he
I'm gonna
walk
act like
off?
It does
this."
kill me because I
Yeah.
like the old man in the 3.
He walked off.
Old
He got
man is a
he got
douche.
asked a question
There's good
and
clips
didn't
up
answer
there.
and just walked off the fucking post game interview, didn't he?
Yeah, he's done that multiple
Let's
times.
make it happen tonight.
Yeah.
Let's piss him off. and
Who
get
you
a W.
dunking on, Cam? Who do you want
And I'm just like,
nuts in the face?
hard for me to dunk on people. Let's dunk on.
Who do you hate the most?
Dunk
right
on Waylon.
Do you have one of your
Just kidding.
one of your middle school kids that's not performing well that you want to dunk on?
Yeah, because their parents would not have any issue with me putting my name on this podcast right now. No,
What's grinding your gears?
You know what I want to dunk on since you're struggling
I
to
think
come
the
up with an
only
answer?
thing that's grinding my gears right now, and it's a good thing, I'm happy they are because it's our alma mater, but like the Bernie Greyhounds are still in the goddamn playoffs. And like, I want to go home and spend time with my family. And damn it, you keep winning, and I keep having to film you in the end zone. And you know what? I'm here for it.
So who does that mean
But
you're
it's a
dunking
lot.
on? Does that mean we're dunking on those kids from the valley from Corpus Christi that we're about to play?
Hey, no. We're
It's not hard. They're like
I
5'6".
think he's dunking on Bernie for having success.
I am. I'm dunking on us for
Too
having
tall.
success. It's true. We're too
5'2".
good. I don't like it. It's not good.
Okay.
First year in 5A, though, and everybody was like, oh, Bernie's going to get dommed on. And we're like, oh, hey, here we are walking into the third round of the playoffs.
What I want to say before we wrap up
So I'm
this
dunking on
podcast-
Champion for being a bunch
Well,
of bitches.
I got a
That's what I'm
couple other
dunking
quick
on.
little basketball
Ooh,
points. That,
I'm excited to hear this.
well, I mean, there was one other person I guess I kind of do want to dunk on, and we've dunked on him previously, but that's Joel Embiid.
Wow.
Can I dunk on him real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not hard. He can't
The
even stand up.
the lane is open.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's averaging less than 20 points a game. That's sub what he was doing his rookie season. And his minutes really haven't gone down. He's only played a few games this year. His rebounds are about 7.5. That's lower than his rookie season. And whenever I look at what he did last year, he's about 15 points down per game than when he did last year. He's still 31 minutes a game. Is this what we're seeing? Is the decline this steep for Joel Embiid?
Absolutely.
It feels like
Well, he played for Team USA. He's not from here.
Did he? Did he
respect-
play? Did he play for Team USA? Did he?
Did you
Sort
just
of.
say Diddy?
But he played for Team USA, and he, just like Kawhi Leonard, he can't even stay healthy enough to play for his own team.
Okay, and like that's a big thing too. Is like the health thing. Is like you see how well other players take care of their bodies. You start wondering with the Joel Embiid, like how consistently the injuries happen. It's like, what are you not doing to be
Right.
the player you could be?
Well, ask Tyrese Maxey that and see what he thinks about
Right,
that.
because I mean Tyrese Maxey's like,
Shout
dude,
out-
you're late to fucking meetings.
Dude, shout out Tyrese Maxey for calling him out. Like,
Yeah.
dude, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean they need Tyrese Maxey to be fully healthy as well.
Yeah, Joel Embiid's fucking cooked. The last time we filmed, I think he had just come back. They had just like lost a game, and shortly after that, they're like, "Oh, he has knee soreness. His knee is swelling. He's actually out
sucking
for the
dick.
foreseeable future."
His knee is actually located right next to his vagina.
Yeah, kind of though, honestly.
Yeah, he's
Or
just
penis.
he's just
I don't want to be gender specific. I'm just saying.
he is the most fragile player I've seen with the most talent.
For Joe Embiid.
Whenever I look at him, like I think we're gonna start to talk about him like we talked about the fall off of like DeMarcus Cousins, like when DeMarcus Cousins went from like being a top 3 center in the NBA to being like is he even a top 15 center in the NBA overnight, pretty much? And I wonder if Joel Embiid's going to fall into that same category.
I heard Bill Simmons compare his like fall off to Blake Griffin's, to where there was just one day everyone woke up and he's like, oh man, he's not the same guy physically anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And he can't do what he normally did.
Yeah.
But at least Blake Griffin could play in a different style of offense.
Right, he can move out and do
Like
his own
Joel
thing.
Embiid needs the ball. Like he needs the ball to be effective. Blake Griffin could actually play, not necessarily off ball, but in different. He could play in different situations.
And Blake Griffin's a way better comic than Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's funny.
Yeah.
He's funny as
So-
hell.
so
That shit he
I'm
said
not
about
gonna disagree.
Peyton Pritchard.
So I
in
got
his wedding.
I
Yeah.
have some fun facts about each NBA team. Do you all want to hear some?
Let's hear
Yeah.
a couple of them. Yeah.
All right. So for the Spurs, right? The only mascot to get ejected ever in the NBA. Do y'all know that?
Really?
When was this?
Coyote.
When was this?
I want to say it might have been like in the 80s or so. Like, no. It might have been recently. Wasn't it recently?
It was back in the cocaine.
I don't know. You mentioned it.
I want you to come with these facts, AJ.
Right. If we're talking about
I
it,
didn't-
come with the year.
My bad. It didn't say year.
No, you good.
So the Pacers have the most ABA titles at 3. Fun fact,
Okay.
y'all know that?
Those are the only titles they'll ever have. Continue.
Did y'all know that the Nets almost changed their name to the Swamp Dragons?
Really?
Did you know about this one?
That is pretty accurate for New Jersey.
It was
They are
literally
fucking in the swamp.
It was
The
literally like
Swamp
it was like
Dragons?
this close. It got approved by everybody, and then I think it went to like the entire NBA, and the NBA was like, "That's fucking
I
stupid."
just found a new name for my penis.
Well, dude, fucking New Jersey stinks. Like you drive through I'm sorry if we have people from New Jersey watching this right now. New Jersey stinks.
Y'all know
Like-
they do.
Like it is literally like you notice the smell when you're driving through the East Coast, and like you're like, oh fuck, I'm in New Jersey now.
Very
like,
similar
it just
to when you
reeks like
pull into
sewage.
like Louisiana.
It's actually interesting. Whenever I'm
well, you
going,
notice the shitty roads.
whenever
then.
I'm going to the restroom, I actually say like, I need to go take a New Jersey right now.
like,
You need to take a swamp dragon.
By the
need to
way,
go
the
take a
Nets are
net.
now in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I need to go take a net.
Did y'all know? Do you know who the oldest NBA team is?
Yeah, the chaparrals. I'm just kidding.
Anybody?
I'm gonna go to the Sixers.
It's not.
Okay, enlighten me.
It's the Kings.
Okay, wait. Can we
Okay.
wait though? How can we have like the oldest? Like, was just one team? Nobody else is playing them.
You're saying, like,
Five
No,
of
the
them?
the
same
oldest
name?
franchise. Oldest franchise.
Yeah, oldest franchise.
So the other ones have died, and they're Highlander. There
Yep.
can only be one.
They've been
All right.
remixed.
Let's get one more. Let's get one more. All right.
Okay.
Who
Who's
has
the,
the
gayest franchise?
who has the most number 1 picks as a franchise?
Detroit Pistons.
No. Close though.
Chicago Bulls.
No.
Dang, I was about to say the Milwaukee Bucks.
Y'all are very close. It's
Indiana
in the Midwest.
Pacers.
It's in the Midwest.
Indiana Pacers.
It's in the Midwest.
What else is in the Midwest?
The Cavs.
Cavs.
Yeah.
Cavs have 6.
That makes sense. I
They
was like,
smashed on Anthony Bennett.
I was gonna say, dude, UNLV legend Anthony Bennett. I mean, honestly, whenever he showed out for that summer league, I was like, dude, this guy's nice. He's good.
He was the
he's
best.
Nice.
Well, do you think he was the best first-round pick in the history of Cleveland's franchise?
Yeah.
First
outside of
overall pick.
LeBron-
I'm sorry.
Right. I mean,
he was the least bitchiest one.
I mean, outside of LeBron, I think.
LeBron. Who did they? Okay, LeBron, Kyrie, Anthony Bennett, Wiggins,
Yeah.
or did Wiggins right?
No, not Wiggins.
Wiggins went first. Wasn't he
Yeah.
drafted by the Cavs? Or was he drafted by Minnesota?
wait.
Oh, they traded him for Kevin Love.
Who's
They
the?
traded him for
Did,
Kevin Love.
who was
Thank
the?
you.
Didn't they draft a center? It was a big dude.
Was it Drunas Ilgauskas? No, I'm just kidding.
but it was a.
You're probably thinking of Anthony Bennett.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, and he
you're
sucked.
you're
the
thinking of
Christian
Anthony.
whatever dude. Hey, he wasn't a number 1 pick. Never mind. That's not who I'm thinking of.
But yeah,
I'm thinking of the right person, but he was not.
Do you
a
want me to
number
give
one
you
draft
guys the names?
Yeah.
Do you have them this time, or did
I do.
you bring up a
I do.
stat that you're not prepared
I
to
do.
answer?
The internet and Google's is fantastic.
Okay,
So,
enlighten us.
1986, Brad Daughtry.
pick. Oh yeah, he
Okay,
was a
Brad
dog.
Daughtry.
Dude, solid
Absolute
UNC.
dog.
Solid UNC.
Honestly, he was stretching the floor before it was fashionable. He was a power forward that could actually step out 16, 17, 18 feet and kind of give your offense some space. So shout out to Brad.
The fact that you know that blows my mind.
LeBron James,
Who's that?
Kyrie Irving,
Yep.
Anthony Bennett,
Yep.
Andrew Wiggins.
So he was because they drafted him and then traded him.
It was
I'm
a draft
fucking
trade.
here. Don't ever question me ever again.
And I'm sorry,
cheating.
I totally
We will, regularly.
I totally skipped this one. 1971 Austin Carr out of Notre Dame.
Austin Kanch.
Okay.
Austin Coke.
Well, this
Austin Kiss.
This has officially become the most random topic that we've maybe ever spoken
Absolutely.
about on the Baseline Bumps podcast. And you know what that means to me?
Well,
We should take more tequila shots.
Probably.
Yeah, we could take some tequila shots, but I did have a couple other quick mentions.
Get them out, please.
A couple other quick mentions. I had to mention LaMelo Ball. Can I talk about LaMelo Ball real quick?
Shout out to
over
our
the last
basketball
three
shoes.
games. Over the last 3 games, he's averaging 43, 7, and 8.
That's fucking insane.
And for the season, he's averaging 31, 7, and 5. He's averaging his most efficient season so far, and his volume is crazy, over 25 shots a game. This is absolutely nuts to be that kind of efficient while he's shooting that kind of volume. So I got the question for the panel, guys. Is LaMelo Ball potentially a top 5 point guard in the NBA right now?
Yes.
Now,
100%.
remind me, do we need the Hornets to like lose or win?
We want them to win.
We need them to win.
Then
We want them to win.
he's-
It's good.
Dude, he's top 3.
Okay. So is he better than Luka?
No.
Is he better than Steph?
No.
So is he better than SGA?
No.
Okay, so
No.
Stop. Is he right there? Is
No.
he Brunson?
I was about
No.
to say that.
No.
So he's not better than Brunson.
No.
So is he top 5?
Well, that was only 4. Who's another?
Well, so you have him right there.
Okay. Well, he's right there with De'Aaron Fox.
Okay, so he's
He's
right
in
there
that
with
tier,
De'Aaron
Darren
Fox.
Fox. I like it.
Okay.
Who
I'm
else
trying
is
to think.
there?
I know Halliburton's had a bad year, but do you take him above Halliburton?
I like his shot better than Halliburton.
That's interesting. He's in that conversation. The problem with LaMelo is we haven't seen him be on an actually relevant team. But if he can make a playoff, if he can make
So-
the playoffs and get in and maybe
So
win a
if
series,
LaMelo
sure.
could make it over to the San Antonio
So
Spurs,
that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. If let's say LaMelo
we don't
is
need
available,
that position though.
Yes,
not
we
now,
do.
but in like 3 years, let's say he's available. Like, do we make that jump and like go after a dude like him who can just automatic bucket?
That'd be sick.
Depending on the asking price, of
you know what I
course,
mean?
but he's not available right now.
Yeah, not right
he's,
now.
He's
but like-
nowhere near available.
But you get what I'm saying. Like someone.
No, but
a
you're talking about
similar
we're getting to the end of like
situation.
Right.
3 years from now, like getting to the end
Right.
of
But
these contracts.
yes,
and
he's
it's like,
he's not above any of those top 4 guys that you named. But beyond that, he's at least in the conversation. Like if you were to say, "Hey, who am I starting my franchise with?" He's in the conversation with Halliburton. He's not with SGA, Luka, or
I would
Curry.
say he's tier 2. He's tier 2.
I
Okay.
know this is a whatever opinion, but Luka just makes me angry when I watch him play basketball.
do you think LaMelo's better than Dame?
He does.
in
He's a
terms of
bitch.
like this season and who I would rather have on my roster, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want Dame on my squad.
I'm just getting a sense of where
do you
you're
think?
ranking him. Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm saying that LaMelo Ball is a top 5 point guard, I think that's a little bit of a stretch because I just see flashes of him and then he gets injured, and I also think about the other side of the ball. I know his defense has improved quite a bit, but I still feel like I want to see more active defense from him because I think he's athletic enough to be a really, really great on-ball defender. And I think the team defense will obviously come. He's a smart player. He can see the floor very well. But, yeah, I just think that, for me, a top 5 point guard, that's a bit of a stretch right now.
Could you imagine LaMelo, Castle, and Wemby on the team together?
You're obsessed
That'd be
with him
nuts.
being on our team.
That'd be nuts.
Dude, like he can play Olay defense, and as long as it feeds into Wemby,
I don't want
Cafe
somebody that
Olay?
takes that many shots. He takes too
He does
many
take a lot of
shots.
shots.
I don't want that on the team.
brought to you by HEB.
I'd love
Right,
to,
but-
I'd love to have him on
but-
the team.
brought to you by Carl.
I mean, I would love. I mean, obviously, we'd love to have him. He would, but I think that he would have to be a guy that would be understanding that this is Wemby's team. Like LaMelo, you're coming here to be alongside of Wemby, not to be the guy.
I feel like he'll be like, whatever, just get me the fuck out of New
That
Orleans.
pick and roll would feed families. Charlotte, by the way. That pick
that's
and
right. They
roll
were
would
back in
feed
Charlotte.
families.
Yes, that would be
For Thanksgiving,
dynamic.
like they'd have multiple
Yes.
turkeys. We'd even throw them a fucking ham and a prime rib too.
Oh goodness, that would be.
I like how
monstrous.
After they eat breakfast tacos.
I like how his dad has completely fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, thank God.
so
Well,
nice.
his kids made it, so fuck it. I mean, you're at the point where your kids are multimillionaires.
LeVar's a bad dude.
It's like job done.
Yeah.
But
Literally job
Hey,
done.
but a shout out to LaMelo. So for taking that path of I'm gonna go play in the NBL in Australia. I'm gonna do well there.
No, he actually
and
made
come
it
back
work.
and
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
and be a top 5 pick.
Because people
So
were kind of like, that's not very smart. That kind of seems.
I love it. I think the
thing to
NBL.
do.
I think the NBL is probably a great way to go get good experience or go call it a career. Honestly, like I think their league is solid, and I would say it's probably number 3 in the entire world when it comes to basketball leagues.
I think going to Thailand
Yeah.
and fighting lady
best.
boys is a better idea.
You got anything else, Rob?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about one other player that's having a really good season, like kind of similar to LaMelo Ball. And, I like to look at the MVP tracker, and Karl Anthony Towns is on there. And, it's like he, is a guy that we knew it was going to take him some time to acclimate to that Knicks system, but he's averaging 26 and 12, almost 50% from beyond the arc. And I thought that he was going to maybe do better because he's going to play more minutes. He's in a Thibodeau system. Obviously, Thibodeau's known for playing the fuck out of his guys. He's only playing 31 minutes a game, and his efficiency's up, his scoring is up, his rebounding is up. His highest his rebounding has been since 2018. I'm wondering if this is the perfect fit for him. They're 4th in the East. They're 10-7, I believe, and they're looking pretty solid for the most part. So, like, I mean, I know they have their problems, but I think that Karl Anthony Towns is looking good. He's 6th in the MVP tracker right now.
You need to answer in a Karl Anthony Towns voice.
I guess that I mean, like, it's all right. Like, no, I have
God, just
I have
stop.
zero gripes with him offensively. He's stepped in offensively and done great. What I'm a little concerned about is how easily he gets scored on around the rim. And that doesn't go into the MVP like voting as much, like defensive efficiency, but I think in terms of like points per possession on who he's the primary defender on, he's prohibiting very few baskets from being scored on him. So yeah, like I think he's fitting in beautifully with New York. I think he's filling a lot of the outside shooting that was left. But I think they're very much so underperforming. Like the Knicks need to be better than they are right now.
I mean, I don't think they need to be better than they are right now, because I think that as long as they're within striking distance, they're a team that can kind of, figure it out later in the season, and then they're in a weaker Western Conference where they can be, they're 10-7 right now and they're 4th. We're 10-8 right now.
Nice. We're 10th.
Yeah, we're 10-8. We're 10-8 and we're 10th. So
Fuck
it's like
that.
they can actually have the luxury and the freedom to kind of fuck around and find out a little bit. And I think,
Fafo.
I think that's gonna benefit them pretty nicely.
And I think it also like benefits Cat because he doesn't have to be the top dog. He doesn't even have to be the second guy, honestly. Like they have so many options in New York. And I'm excited for the Spurs to play them Christmas Day. And I might have to watch it with Mickey because Mickey Mouse is going to have a little what they call it, like a different stream or whatever,
like a different announcer.
And maybe it's Mickey's like Victor from Miami, like some shit like that. I don't know.
Oh boy, Victor from 3.
So
Stefan Castle with a great pass down low.
So I think Cat is in a really good position. I think he also just needed a change of scenery, honestly. And whenever you're in New York City, you just kind of get that energy regardless. And I'm sure he's living in a dope penthouse somewhere. And sometimes you just need the different scenery to like really shine. And what's crazy is that he's been able to overcome the New York media too. He's been criticized a lot. And he's really continued to play, put his head down, and not kind of drown it out.
I think that's because nobody takes the New York media serious anymore. Probably has a large portion to do with it.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. And also, the Brooklyn Nets are irrelevant too.
Yeah.
So it's
That also helps. It's true.
and so are the Giants, and so is everyone else. So
all eyes on
like
Mets.
literally
Yeah.
like all of New York's teams are dog water right now, and now you have Carthy
The
Towns.
Islanders.
Except for the New York Jets.
they can just be butthurt about it.
So I think it's a good change of scenery for him, and I think him and Brunson play well together. So we'll see what happens. And all they need to be is like 4 or 5, maybe 6. If they make the dance, they'll be fine.
Well, there we go.
They will be in the dance.
They absolutely will be because the East is absolutely dog water. There's no way they won't be. But guys, that was a wonderful episode. I think we talked about a lot of great Spurs stuff. We said what we were thankful for. We kind of dived into some other NBA topics as well.
We drank.
Duke.
Yeah, we had a shot at tequila.
Duke almost
We
hurt my
made
leg.
our ancestors proud.
We really did. And, this, like I said earlier, this was a good in-person episode. These episodes have a different vibe, different energy, and I'm glad we were able to do this. So, guys, as
Thank
always,
you all for having me.
Let's Cam say
It's
it.
nice to have you, Cam.
Cam, give us a Go Spurs Go.
Go Spurs, go.